business than e-commerce. You're listening to E-Commerce All-Stars with Josh Marsden.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? So welcome to E-Commerce All-Stars. I've got an awesome episode for you lined up for you. I've got Ezra Firestone here, and Ezra really needs no introduction. You know, anybody that's in e-commerce knows who Ezra is, knows Ezra's, you know, an awesome guy, super knowledgeable, super wise when it comes to e-commerce and performance marketing. And I'm really excited to have him on the show here, and I know we've got some great content to dive into. So Ezra, welcome to E-Commerce All-Stars.
E-Commerce All-Stars. I love this name. I've used it myself in the past for live events. So I think, I'm super happy to be here. Thanks for having me on the show. And I appreciate the opportunity to be an E-Commerce All-Star. I had like one of those Converse logos, you know, remember the Converse All-Stars? Yep. So I did like a little hat.
Converse, you know, Chuck
and
Taylor's.
It had E-Commerce All-Stars, but it was like Converse All-Stars. Mm-hmm. And Custom Ink, which is the like kind of the nationwide, it's the company that everyone uses for t-shirts and hats, and like they advertise on TV and all the local sports teams use them. They're like the big print on demand, supplier. Wouldn't print it. They were like, look, this is too close to the Converse copyright. And I was like, dude, I'm trying to print 50 of these for my event. They wouldn't do it. So then we had to like pivot away from that.
Dang. Did you find someone else to print it?
No, we thought, okay, well, if these guys, like, we were not trying to represent that we are Converse, you know, but we thought it was a fun riff just for like a hat for this event. But when Custom Ink, you know, told us we couldn't do it, we thought, all right, well, maybe this is like some kind of trademark issue, even though it's 50 random hats at some e-commerce event. We just left it alone.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I know. I remember when we were texting and I was like, are you okay if I use this name? And you're like, yeah, it's totally cool, you know?
It's a good name. You should use it. I'm happy. I think, it makes people in e-commerce sound fancy. And, you know, there's not a large group of people who are excited about e-commerce, but the ones who are, I definitely want to feel fancy.
Totally. Well, totally, man. Well, you know, I'd love for us to just maybe go into, you know, who you are and maybe some of your backstory and how you got started in business. If you could share just some of your story, that'd be great.
Yeah, man. So I've always been an entrepreneur. I was the kid who was selling you jelly beans at school. You know what I mean? Like I always had some kind of little hustle, car wash, whatever. And I started playing poker at a very young age. You know, when I was 12, 13, 14, poker had really gone mainstream in America. It was like all over ESPN and it was like on TV and they were having the World Series. And there was also the first time that you could engage in online poker. And so I started reading, as I do when I want to get good at something, I consume all the available information on the topic. So I started reading all these books on how to play poker, and nice. I got a hold of a party poker account and a credit card. Legitimately, I got a credit card. I wasn't like stealing someone's credit card. I got my mom to give me, you know, money. And
no confessions here, right?
Yeah, no, I was cool, but you probably weren't supposed to be playing that thing at like 13. Anyways, ended up doing really well, making a whole bunch of money playing online poker. Back in the day, and moved to New York when I was 18 to like kind of pursue a poker career because New York had a real big underground poker scene in the early 2000s, 2004, 2005, 2006 age. There's a movie out right now called Molly's Game. Have you heard of it? It's a really fascinating movie that's based on a true story of this time in history of the underground New York poker scene and how it crossed over with celebrity culture and how all this crazy stuff went down. And I was in that scene at that time. Mm-hmm. And so anyways, poker.
Oh, that's cool, man.
It's a fun movie for anyone who wants to drop into a subculture and have a somewhat realistic experience of what that was like. Watch the movie Molly's Game. It's interesting.
Nice. Sounds like a new Rounders.
And Rounders obviously came before that, right? But Rounders is way older.
Right.
Anyways, back on topic here. You know, poker was a great way to make money, and I was good at it, but it was like you're up all night, you're sleeping all day, you're around a bunch of degenerates. There's no women in sight. It's a terrible lifestyle. You're under fluorescent lights. You're banging down Butterfingers at 3 a.m. and shit. It's terrible. So I met a guy who was, what he was doing was he was a life coach. And this was before coaching had really penetrated the mainstream. I mean, you know, now you've got things like yoga and juicing and all these things that are pop culture mainstream that were like on the fringes of society. Well, at this time, coaching was still a fringe concept. There weren't relationship coaches, health coaches, business coach. Coaching was not made it. It was like Tony Robbins was around, but like this idea of that you could be a coach was not a mainstream idea. And so this guy was leveraging the traffic source of the day, which was search engine optimization. The way that you got traffic back in the early 2000s was you ranked in Google, Yahoo, or Bing organically for different queries, right? This ability to buy contextual traffic or buy traffic based on someone's interests or what they've done in the past or behaviors. The concept of contextual traffic didn't even exist, really. You could target someone based on like a page they had visited, but you didn't have behavioral data points. And so the only type of traffic at that time was query-based traffic or intent-based traffic. And you could buy query-based traffic on Google AdWords. That was the main engine where you could purchase that visibility for a brand, or you could rank organically on Google, which was the game because it was cheaper and easier. And so what he would do is he would rank doing search engine optimization for business opportunity terms like make money or start a business, et cetera. And he would rank pages that would talk about this concept that you could build a life coaching business or a coaching business. And this, coaching doesn't have a governing body. Any schmo can roll off the street and call themselves a coach and start charging for those services, right? There's no you're not getting, which is good and bad, right? Because there are great meditation coaches and health coaches and relationship coaches and business coaches and life coaches who are very skilled, who have a deep understanding and education that isn't certified by some board, and it's fine. But then there's also the people who don't, right? So it's kind of it's a spectrum of whether or not it's a positive or negative thing. But the point that I'm making is that this guy was selling digitally delivered information in the form of ebooks, DVDs, audio courses, and video courses, leveraging long form sales pages and webinars and all kinds of traditional direct response internet marketing things all the way back then to promote an information publishing business with himself as the influencer. And his visibility source was search engine optimization and Google AdWords paid traffic. And I was like, dude, you are sitting at your computer making a ton of money, and I'm over here hanging out with a bunch of degenerates. Like, let's do a trade. We're going to lined it up through him learning the art of search engine optimization in 2005 and ended up taking over his business and running that for a couple of years. And that was really fun. That's where I kind of cut my teeth on landing page psychology and sales funnels and stuff like that. And ultimately, after doing all kinds of stuff from running a local agency where I would generate leads for businesses in New York City using Google AdWords and search engine optimization to get them like people to go to their yoga studio and do an affiliate marketing and all kinds of stuff. And we took that business, the life coaching business, to a multi-million-dollar a year operation. He ultimately burned out as the influencer, the person who was the face behind the brand. And that was the day that I decided that I would never put myself in the position of having a brand that was that the single failure point was one person, which I then went on to do several times, but we can talk more about that. Point being that I discovered in 2006 that the best possible business model that I could be a part of was physical products, because I had more control over the full supply chain, over the product, over the marketing, over the ability to make sure the customer had a good experience, over it just seemed like the model that fit my skills and interests the best after having done a bunch of different models at that point. And at that time, the way that you started in physical products was with drop shipping, but not drop shipping like today. Drop shipping like there was no Alibaba, there was no AliExpress, there was no easy way to ship stuff from another country. The way you did it back then was you went and found manufacturers in America who were making bar stools or gift baskets or costume wigs or whatever, and you got a CD of those products and you put it up on your Yahoo store, your OS Commerce store, your ShopSite store, your Xcart, ZenCart, Magento. I mean, I've been through all of them. And you ran search engine optimization traffic and Google AdWords traffic to that dropship store. And when an order came in, you faxed the dropshipper. You took the money on your store and then you faxed the drop shipper and they shipped it out. And that was old model e-commerce, which was great. And I did really well at that. I was a number one retailer in America of costume wigs for a couple years running in the late 2000s, 08, 09, 10, 11, of like mullet wigs, Afro wigs, Elvis wigs, stuff like that.
Nice.
Whole story about the wig business, but which we won't get into. But what that led me to ultimately, if we're just talking about the e-commerce journey, was that drop shipping was wonderful, but I was spending all my time and energy building someone else's brand and promoting someone else's product. And also it was very difficult to control the shipping chain. When you have a drop shipper, they might be out of stock and then they don't notify you, or their system's not up enough to where you can tell if they have product or not. And ultimately you run into all these issues where like you do not have control over the entire sales cycle, meaning you're not warehousing and shipping and being responsible for inventory. And that led me to private labeling because I wanted more control over the entire supply chain I wanted to be building and promoting my own brand. So building value for myself and not someone else. And I wanted to be able to guarantee that a customer would receive a product when I sold it at a certain time. And just to give you some context, if you look up a company called Wayfair and you look up another company called IVG Stores, these were Wayfair is worth multiple billions of dollars at this point. I think they're worth like $6 billion.
Yeah, I've heard of Wayfair.
They were just like me. They started 2 years earlier than I did. They were doing drop ship retailers, the exact model I just explained to you. And I can tell you a little bit more in depth if you want to go into that model, because there are people who still leverage that model today. But these folks were a little bit more sophisticated. They were like 5 years older than me. I was like 18. They were like in their early 20s. They understood scale a little bit more, and they went out and I did maybe 12 dropship stores, 20 dropship stores in my history of that business model, several of which worked, several of which didn't. They did hundreds where they were cuckoo clocks and grandfather clocks and aquariums, and they were just getting exact match domains, finding a supplier for that particular niche item, and ultimately have now built into one of the biggest homeware and outdoor goods brands in the world, still running that drop ship model, still doing it. So there was a lot of people who were leveraging that model at that time, some of which are still in that, and some of which have transitioned into the kind of model that I'm in now, which is where I create, manufacture, and develop my own brands and then do all of the marketing and support. And when you look at an e-commerce brand, and I can give you tips this is just giving you context on kind of where we came from and where we are in e-commerce. And I know that you want tips that are specific to what a business owner might use today to promote their brand, and I will give you those. But I want to first mention that there are 3 components of any business. Now, I currently run a software as a service business that generates $150,000 to $200,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue. I run an information publishing business where I sell courses and live events and coaching on a mastermind, does about $5 million a year in annual revenue. And I run a physical products business that 2 physical products businesses, one of which does multiple millions and the other of which does 20 million a year. And across all those business models, I can tell you definitively that e-commerce is the easiest one to operate at scale, because when you look at product, okay? Just look at product. We're going to look at 3 categories for a business, but let's first look at product. When you're looking at a business at scale, and I'm going to define scale as $500,000 or more in revenue, a couple employees, ongoing operations, like we're at scale now, okay? We have an operation or a business model at scale. Now, I have run a dozen of these different models at scale in my 13 years online. And if we just look at the product side for a second, when you think about e-commerce, I sell like tubs. These are my stick products. These are my plastic tubs with goo in them, right? It's like really high quality, really well made, really amazing goop in different tubs or sticks. So in order to do more of those, once I have the recipe for the product that I am, developing, I just mix up more goop. I buy more tubs. I put more labels on it, and then I send it to my warehouse. So like at scale, the product is really easy. The supply chain is easy for most physical product categories. Now, if you look at software as a service on the product side, I need front-end developers, back-end developers, project managers, QAs. I'm adding to the product's changing every week. It's code-based, and so the code modifies and morphs, and then I got to fix bugs that happen because the code changed, and I got to document everything I did for the people who are using the product. And then my support people have to understand the product at a way higher level because they're supporting people who are using the thing. If you look at services, right? The more services I sell, the more people I need to talk to the people that I'm selling services to. So products that are not static and printable and recreatable at scale become very difficult business models. To give you an example, my Boom facility that puts out 30,000 plus units a month has less people than my development team for Zipify, and Zipify only does 1/10 of the revenue, right? So to produce the product for Zipify, it takes me 10 times the amount of people as it does to produce the product for Boom, and 10 times the amount of energy and ongoing resource. Same would be for services. We don't have to get into affiliate marketing and information publishing, but then so you got supply chain, now you have support. Support is easy for e-commerce because it's refunds, it's questions about the products, it's straightforward, it's consistent. You can mine that for data on what product adds value in a number of different ways. It's a very important part of every business, how you support it, your live chats, your emails, your phone calls, your support infrastructure, etc. That is very easy for a physical product business. And then marketing is the same for every business. And I think marketing is probably what you want to talk about on this call today, because people are most interested in marketing strategies. And I can get into the best marketing strategies you can leverage to promote an e-commerce brand right now. But like marketing, you're going to have to do for any model. You're going to have to do content and amplification and advertising and sales funnels and abandoned cart automations and broadcasts and all kinds of landing page optimization, whatever, mobile optimization. So. That is the same for any model. So if you're looking at what model is the most, for me, if you want a lifestyle business, because I want to be able to stop in the middle of the day and go take a bath and hang out. And if I stop working on Boom for 2 months, the business stays. If I stop working on Zipify or Smart Marketer, it drops because they're very much dependent on my daily interaction with them. Whereas an e-commerce brand is very scalable. I've got my ads department. I got my design department. I've got my copywriting department. I got my project manager. I got my social media manager. Like I have the structure of it. Ongoingly for scale is a great model for a lifestyle business because the founder who created it is not necessary in ongoing operations. And what the founder does or the creator does is hold the vision, think, strategize, talk to the people in charge. Like it's a lot easier to optimize an e-commerce brand at scale to be a lifestyle model than it is software as a service or information publishing or services or any of those other models.
Yeah. I mean, I have experience with service, with CVO Acceleration. But, I don't have experience with running an e-commerce company or running a software as a service company. I've got friends that, do that.
You're listening to E-Commerce All-Stars. We'll be right back after this message.
E-Commerce All-Stars.
Do you want the best results possible for your business using Facebook advertising? By listening to this show, you know the impact that listening to some of the best and brightest in e-commerce can have for your business. Right now, you can do the same for your Facebook advertising in Josh's powerful new book. In this book, some of the best Facebook advertisers for e-commerce that have collectively spent millions on advertising have revealed their powerful strategies and tips for getting the most out of every dollar spent on Facebook ads. Every contributor has also given their wisdom on how your business can stay ahead of the trends happening right now so you can win into 2019 with Facebook ads without risking advertising dollars. Molly Pittman, J. Trevor Chapman, David Schloss, Sam Bell, Josh Marsden, and many more have truly given their best stuff in this book, Facebook Advertising Trends and Strategies for E-Commerce, the 2019 edition.
The best in e-commerce. E-Commerce All-Stars.
My first, kind of question is, wow, like how do you even juggle all of that?
Well, let me tell you, I am not trying to bag on services agencies because I love and support and have run services agencies in the past and promote services agencies. So obviously it's a great business model just for me, for my own style. And I don't want to talk to people, right? Like I just want to innovate and do stuff. I don't want to get on the phone with anyone, right? I canceled on you like 4 times or something. So
it's just once, don't worry.
Yeah. So the way that I manage that, I have a whole course on this on my website that I can send you. It's called, it's my project management course. I realized a couple years ago that I was the bottleneck in my business, that I was driving. I spent my whole career driving. I came up broke with nothing, learned it all myself, played every position before I put someone in, and I was the driver. And as I've grown as a business owner, I've had to mature into the role of a navigator because like when you're driving on the road, you can't be up seeing the mountains in the distance. You're looking at what's right in front of you. Mm-hmm. You're looking at the next turn coming up. And so this transition into being a navigator, which sometimes I look around like, what do I even do? I talk to people. I hold the vision in the container. I give feedback, but I'm no longer, and I tinker on the edges. I tinker with new technology and stuff like that, but I'm no longer directly responsible for the ads department or the copy department or the sales funnel department or whatever. I figured out through project management and hiring and delegation and autonomy, which I talk about in this. I have a free webinar where I go through my experience of being the bottleneck and the manager. And I'm a terrible manager. I'm like, hey man, let's do this thing. It's going to be great. All right, come back. Tell me how it was. Like I'm a visionary. I am a creator. I'm a starter. I'm not an ongoing manager. This is not I suck at that. I hold the too loose of a container. And what we found was that my team was much happier when there was a tighter container being held around them of what was expected, when it was expected, like someone who kind of cracks that whip a little bit in a good way, which we teach in this project management course. It's really for business owners who have employees or anyone who wants to play the role of project manager or accountability holder and organizer of a company's operations, it's a phenomenal training. We've been putting people through it and they love it. And it really gives you a technology stack and a system for structuring your daily, weekly, monthly meetings, tasks, organization. We go through spreadsheets. We go through our Trello task management board. We go through how we run our team calls. Like, our team is 70 people across 4 brands, all virtual, no office.
Dang.
So in order to have
That's amazing
setup, we've had to get fairly sophisticated with our operations. But the short answer is I stopped being a driver and I started being a navigator. And it took me 8 hours in a training course to explain how I did that. But it's a good course. And I have an hour free training that I can link to that will give you the gist of it. So if you're in that spot and you want to be able to manage more projects, it'll help you.
I mean, it sounds like super
I set a real tight container around my work hours, dude. I don't start work until 9 or 10. I wake up, I meditate, I move, I eat breakfast with my wife. I hang out in my little tea room. Like, I don't start checking social media and shit. There's no phone in my bedroom. I'm chilling out in the morning, getting ready for the day, energizing myself. And then I'll do a sprint where I'll work a couple hours and I'll eat lunch and I'll work a couple more hours. And then I end it, cut it at 6 or 7, like no screen time, because work will fill the amount of hours that you give it. It will. It'll be, and you're always thinking about it as a business owner. It's there all the time. But if you're not deliberately setting the chunk of time that you're going to be working and actually doing that, then you end up not being very efficient. And when you know, shit, I have this and this time, people with kids get really good at this because they know they got the morning and they got the evening after the kid. You know what I mean? People with kids instinctively figure this out, parents.
You have to.
If you don't have kids like me, and we will at some point, you can implement that same thing that all the parents teach us, right? Every parent knows about this. And the people often report to me like they became a parent and all of a sudden their business got way more efficient because they just had to fit it in. And so I forced that on myself by only giving myself 6 to 8 hours, 4 days a week. And then on the 5th day, I either work a lot or I don't.
Takes a lot of discipline, lots of planning, but it also takes a lot of work, I would think, to get to that point. I'm not quite there. I've only been doing this for 5.5 years, not 14, I think it was what you said.
Yeah.
So
I grew up in this industry, dude, but I will tell you that crazy. I started with one person at a time. You have the everything person, which is the person that comes in and learns everything. That's the first person, everything. They trail you. And then anything that is replicatable, they take. And then eventually that person rises up through the ranks to become your chief operating officer or your chief technical officer or your whatever lead project manager. They become the senior most person because they were doing everything that you were doing that you could then teach them and delegate. I teach this in the course. You roll one person at a time, and the first 3 people on that team take 1.5 years because it's 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. But after that 18 months, boom, all of a sudden you jump to you can go to 10 people real quick because you have 4 core members. So I kind of document how it works. It starts with one person because man, the amount of value you can get out of one person 8 hours a day, when you frame it as I'm buying help for my company and you understand that help gets better over time. The first 80 hours they work or the first 1 month they work or 2 weeks they work, if they're working part-time or full-time, they're not as good as the 6th 80 hours they work because after 6 weeks or 6 months, they're way more efficient. So your value in investing in them goes up. And I teach you how to take someone, give them a goal like, hey, I want you to be the best social media manager for e-commerce in the world. Here's how we're going to get you there. We're going to give you a Slack channel. It's going to have all the social media blogs. They're going to populate in there. You're going to spend 4 hours a week reading those social media blogs, taking notes and coming back to me and telling me what you think we can implement. We're going to put you through these courses. We're going to send you to this event. We're going to have a review once a quarter. You're going to be cutting your teeth on our social. You give them a way to win. So I go through all that. Anyway.
No, that's good. That's good leadership right there. That's how come you've been so successful, because you're setting up your team to be successful, which is amazing to hear.
Yeah, I want a direct response. Everyone should want a direct response marketing team. They should want a copywriter, an advertiser, a sales funnel / technology architect, a social media manager, someone who can provide those services ongoingly for whatever brands that person has, your services agency or your e-com brand or anything else that you want to launch. I have this team that I've been cultivating that when I sell one of these brands, you don't get my team. The team is the value, right? I can go do this on some other brand or do it as a service or whatever. And so I really advocate for cultivating those skill sets in-house.
Nice. So what do you see as the strategies right now that are proven or working really well in e-commerce, in your properties and maybe even properties of some of your members in your mastermind? I know Tony Martin, he's a client of ours. He's in your mastermind. I think Ryan McKenzie's a friend of mine. He's in your mastermind. But yeah, what's working in your opinion right now in e-commerce?
In the 15 minutes that we have, I want to give you the best bang for your buck. And so what I would say is if we just go broad model e-commerce, what's working across the industry. If you look at 95% of the brands that are out there advertising and doing well, and I'm going to just stick with the paid amplification model because that's the model that I believe in, which is the model of going out there and buying visibility for your brand through paid amplification on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Google Display Network and Google Search and Pinterest, et cetera.
Yep.
And the thing to know about that is what most people are doing is they're leveraging video ads because video gets engaged with on the social platform, consumed, and then you can follow up with people if they watch the video or if they click the video. So you can follow up with them based on their activity on the social network, their consumption of your video. And then most people are sending people directly to a product offer page, right? They're going video ad to product offer page. That's 90% of what people are doing out there in e-commerce, or they might be leveraging a carousel ad or whatever. And so I'm going to give you a couple tips on that, which is specifically for video ads, which is 80% of our advertising is spent promoting videos in one form or another on YouTube, on Facebook, on Insta, et cetera, is short form. The average video consumption length is 6 to 8 seconds on Facebook. And I think it's a little higher on Instagram. And about 80% of that is viewed with the sound off. And so the inventory that you're noticing Facebook opening up, things like Instagram stories, short form video inventory, Facebook, in between, when you're watching a video on Facebook, in between like little video ad breaks, right, are happening. So short form inventory is a description. And the thing to remember about advertising is you want to mimic user behavior. Okay, we know that, that 2 out of 3 people start a purchase journey on mobile and convert on desktop. So run our awareness ads on mobile and run our retargeting ads on desktop to run a smart budget, right? So we want to mimic user behavior. And so we know that short form consumption is what people are doing. And we know that Facebook is spending a lot of energy introducing inventory and placements for short form videos. And so what you're going to see is a lot more of these short form placements continue to open up. And the brands that adopt that and have short form video content, 10 seconds, 15 seconds and under, as a strong part of their awareness and remarketing and loyalty advertising will get cheaper inventory than all the rest of the brands. So we're all in on short form assets as not to replace the other assets, the long form videos you run, the image ads that you run, but just as a placement and the way you have to think about it is what platforms can I leverage and what ad units or placements on those platforms can I leverage? So you have platform, placement, and ad unit. Let me explain those. Platform, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google Display. Placement, newsfeed, iPhone, mobile, newsfeed on Insta Story, newsfeed on Facebook, Facebook right column, Facebook Story, Facebook Messenger, YouTube, right? These are placements. And then within those placements, and we're just going to stick to the Facebook and Instagram example for a second, you have what are known as ad units. Now, those ad units are going to be things like a video ad, an image ad, a carousel ad, a short form video, a long form video. So you want to make sure that you're leveraging all available channels, all available placements, and all available pieces of ad creative, because if you only run video ads, you're going to miss out on the 10% of people who only click links. If you only run link ads, you're going to miss out on the 10% of people who only engage with carousels, right? And so the way to get cross-platform to start is most brands generally have one source of visibility that they leverage to get all their traffic, like Facebook or Instagram. And then the way to do it is to introduce YouTube, introduce Google Display Network, introduce the other platforms only in the remarketing pillar. Don't go out and try to buy awareness on all the platforms. Find one platform that you're going to leverage for awareness to start and get good at it, and then do cross-channel or cross-platform remarketing and loyalty sales. And then once that's all humming, take whatever top-line video ad strategy you're using on Facebook, transplant it to YouTube, et cetera.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. And that's what I've seen also working as well. So I'm glad you're kind of reaffirming that and also teaching on that as well, because that's highly valuable for the listeners and the watchers here to take that strategy and use it in their e-commerce businesses. What else do you see as some sound strategies right now or tactics that, are working really well, or some maybe mistakes even that maybe you've seen with e-commerce businesses that you've seen hasn't been working for them that, you would recommend that they get away from if they're doing that?
I think one thing that everyone can do is expand their product line. So once you have a front end offer that you're promoting that's working, you want to have cross sells and upsells and promotions to the people who are coming into your funnel. And the more product offerings you have, the more money you make in general. If you look at every big brand that has scaled to 8 figures plus, they all have rapidly expanded their product catalog to co-market and remarket to past buyers. It'll generally be a 60-40 trend where 60% of your sales will be coming from new people and 40% of your sales will be coming from repeat business, which you achieve over time by expanding the product catalog. If you never expand the product catalog and you're just focused on awareness and acquisition, you miss out on the actual opportunity to scale, which is monetizing your past customers and getting revenue coming in from them that you can then dump into acquisition. Yeah. So that's something that I see a lot of people not doing. The other thing I would point out is that there's a new ad unit available called the Instant Experience. It is formerly known as Canvas ads, but now it's been rolled out on Facebook to all available conversion objectives and ad units. And so basically it's a Facebook optimized mobile landing page that pops open when someone clicks the ad that is connected now to your Facebook pixel for the first time. So you can track how much time people spent in that, whether or not they clicked in it, and you can retarget based on their engagement in the canvas. So now you're 2 levels deep on the social platform. So you got a video ad about your offering. They click it, it pops up a mobile optimized landing page that has more information and perhaps an opt-in form or a call to action to go buy. So they can scroll through that and it's an instant load. And Facebook knows how fast speed is, which is why they're building these things, right? And so now that allows you to have 2 steps on social. It was always only 1 step on social. It was asset that someone consumed or not, image that they clicked or didn't, video that they watched or didn't. Based on how much they watch, you can follow up with them. Now we have an initial asset, user engages with it, secondary asset created by Facebook in Facebook's editor called an Instant Experience, which is a mobile optimized landing page that has an opt-in form or a call to action button. And we can retarget based on video consumption. We can also retarget based on mobile Facebook loaded retarget if they were in there for a certain amount of time or if they clicked from that, et cetera. So it's just another layer of activity that's happening. And when you think about your advertising strategy, it should be thought about in terms of behavioral remarketing. So basically remarketing to people based on their behavior. They watch the video, 50% show them this, 95% show them this, 25% don't show them anything. They click to the landing page, but they didn't make it to the product, follow up with content. They click to the landing page, they read about it, they made it to the product page, follow up with a discount, like based on where they are in that customer journey, because we know that it's going to take multiple touch points to get a sale. So we want to be as granular as we can be and creating these little buckets of what people did. So the difference between watched video versus viewed canvas versus viewed landing page are actually 3 different bucket opportunities rather than saw the ad or didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the canvas ads, we were doing those when they first came out, and we do them every now and then. But I actually did not know, though, that they, for one, changed the name.
Instant Experience. It wasn't working good when it was Canvas. I used Canvas ads back in the day, too, but now it has more capabilities, so we're running a new test with it.
Yeah, that behavior-based retargeting is pretty amazing that they actually rolled that out to Canvas. I could see that being highly powerful with the right strategies and right retargeting and right follow-up. That's amazing. Well, I know that we're getting to the end here, so I just want to, wrap this up like I do with every episode. And we have a bonus round, just a little fun bonus round, just to kind of keep things light and close out on a fun note. So let me just tell you about this bonus round. It's super simple. The key here is that you just need to answer each question with only 1 word. With that said, what caused your biggest e-com success to date?
Partnership.
Nice. And what got you through your toughest moments as a business owner?
Partnership.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And kind of an off question here. Do you have any tips on finding the right partner? Like in your experience, how did you find your partner or partners?
So you have to figure out whether or not you can handle being the boss or you want an equal partnership. You can handle not being the boss or having a deal. It's about how the partnership is structured and who has the responsibilities in what areas and what your agreements are there. So if you have a legit 50-50 partnership where no decision can be made without both people on board and you have some kind of process in place for when you don't agree, like arbitration or bringing in a third party to talk it through. I've found that to be a really great model because nobody can power over the other person. And I have that model set up. I've also found that to be really frustrating at times. And I have other businesses where I am the final. I have partners who are supporting me in different ways, who have equity and ownership, but I end up leading the vision and having the final say. And I think if you're not an incredible communicator, which is one of the things that I've focused on a lot in my life, is learning and practicing and developing high-level communication skills to be able to express myself in a loving way, and also be able to understand people and get my point across and be heard and also listen well and stuff like that. So if you're not incredible in that area and it's not an area that you care to get good at, do not put yourself in a partnership where you're not going to have all the power, because you won't be able to handle it, right? So get yourself into a partnership where you lead and you're the person in charge, and the deal is you get to make all the decisions, and you're going to take their feedback and their advice, and you're going to really consider it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to make the decision that you believe to be the best. That's the position that most people are comfortable in. A lot of people are not comfortable in the position of, hey, we're going to do this thing 50-50 expenses off the top, and we're not going to, it's going to be a unanimous decision for all action.
Sure.
Or you're going to take this responsibility, I'm going to take this responsibility. I'm going to know that I'm trusting you in marketing. I'm going to give you my feedback there, but you're going to get to make all the decisions, and I'm going to get to make all the decisions on product, but you're going to give me your feedback. A lot of different ways to do it. You have to figure out what's best for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom in what you just said. So tons of value right there when it comes to like really creating the right partnership that's going to help set you up to be successful. If you're exploring that in your e-commerce business. So thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that. What's that?
I'm a huge fan of friends and family, because you're going to spend a lot of your time working. So you might as well work with people that know you and love you and that you love, and who will call you on your bullshit. And like all this, like, oh, you shouldn't work with friends and family, is all for people who don't know how to communicate or are unwilling to invest in their communication skills. And you look at a lot of the most successful partnerships, guess what? It's friends and family. So I'm a big advocate of that. And like a lot of my team are friends, cousins, brothers, sisters, people, whatever, like just the network as far as I can push it. I much prefer that to just random cranksters,
Yeah. Okay. So back to the one-word answers here. So 2 more questions, and we're going to wrap up. How would you describe yourself in one word?
Enthusiastic.
Nice. And then how does 2019 look for you?
Looks good.
Good. All right. Well, Ezra, thanks again for being on here, man. Incredible episode. How can the audience follow up on this episode and follow you and learn more from you?
You can go to smartmarketer.com. Smartmarketer.com is my website where I share my e-commerce journey.
Nice. Okay, guys. Well, you heard it here. Go to smartmarketer.com. Follow Ezra. Get to know him more.
Yeah, find me
learn from him.
Facebook, YouTube.
He's all over the place. YouTube, Facebook, you name it. Ezra, this has been great, man. Thanks for being on E-Commerce All-Stars. It's been incredible. And guys, follow Ezra. Go to smartmarketer.com right away. This way you can learn more from Ezra Firestone. And thanks again, Ezra, for being on the show. I appreciate it.
E-Commerce All-Stars. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to E-Commerce All-Stars. By learning from the best, you're saving yourself time, money, and pain from trying to figure it out all by yourself. You can save yourself time, wasted advertising dollars, and stress from your Facebook ads right now by claiming a copy of Facebook Advertising Trends and Strategies for E-Commerce, the 2019 edition. You can generate more results than you've ever experienced with Facebook ads. You can adapt to the current trends happening right now that are affecting business owners from getting the best possible results on Facebook. And you can discover how to scale your Facebook advertising results. All of this is possible for your business by learning from 13 of the best Facebook advertising experts in the world by claiming your copy of Facebook Advertising Trends and Strategies for E-Commerce, the 2019 edition. Thanks for listening to E-Commerce All-Stars.
E-Commerce All-Stars.